Hello and welcome to another subscription recap, this time Illumicrate 2024. Let's get into it. Now this is my second year of having the Illumicrate book subscription, and by far probably the best. Maybe. We'll see. So let's dive right on into January's book. Now the theme for January was a murder mystery, and the book pick was a debut fantasy novel, that being Voyage of the Damned by Frances White. Now I don't have the physical copy of this because I sold it. But before we get into that, let's see what came in the box. Now this is what came in the actual box. So you had 5 character cards, which were for a series that I don't even remember and a series I have never read, so they went in the recycling. There was a star phone popper that can go on the back of your case. I put it on and then realised it was in the wrong place, tried to take it off, and the stuff is like super glue. You can't even get it off, so that had to go in the bin because I put it in the wrong place. Then we have the library stamp. Now I did use this a few times, but I kind of prefer the embossers now, so I am looking into getting one of them instead of the stamping pad. And the only thing that is still surviving from this box is this. Now, I wasn't quite sure what this was when it first came out of the box. It is very shiny and rattles. And it says, the best stories are found between the pages of a passport. So I thought it was a passport holder, but it's not. It's just a sort of book with very, very shiny paper. And this is where you would put stickers that like come in these book boxes, or any stickers that you like will be put in there. But since I have got this, not one book box has included any stickers. My luck entirely. So I do keep it just in case. Getting back to the book, I did like the foiling on the cover. It is a greenish aqua blue kind of colour, and the foiling was holographic on the fish and the title, and the sprayed edges were alright to look at. I'll put some pictures up here because of course I no longer have the book. And from what I remember, the end pages was a map of the ship with all its compartments detailed. Now this book is marketed as an adult fantasy, however I actually read this one, and for me this one, it's more young adult fantasy. It's got nothing adult about it at all. The characters are, I mean the main character in particular is a bit of a dick. And not like in a, oh, he's a bit of a dick, but in a, you want to punch him. They're juvenile. That's the word I was looking for. Juvenile. I liked some of the side characters better than the main character. So although this book has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.9, I rated it a 3. And you can check out that review either up in the corner or down below. But let's refresh our memory on how much these book boxes actually cost. So to get the book and all the bits that go with it, it is about £36.38 still. And to get the book on its own, I think it's about 27, something like that. Now you can get this book on eBay from anywhere from £10 to £35. But if you didn't know already, it is available on Illumicrate's website for £20 for the book on its own and £29 for the full box and all its bits. So if you didn't know, Illumicrate is one of the book box subscriptions that actually has their own shop on the website. And no, I am not sponsored by Illumicrate. At this rate, I probably should be, but I'm not. You don't even need the subscription to go on the website and buy a book. And most of the books that come in the book boxes are available on that website, and they are not astronomically priced. Sometimes on eBay the prices just go ridiculously high and it really doesn't need it. But you can grab yourself a bargain from the actual website, and I don't think most people realise that you don't need a subscription to shop on the website. And that includes Illumicrate, Fairy, the Butterfly Club. There is a whole host of them. If they have a shop, anybody can buy from them. Now, like I said, I do not have a copy of this book anymore because I read it. It was alright. I mean, I rated it a 3. It was straight down the middle of the road. But I wasn't going to pick it up again because I didn't like the characters enough. And what was the point of me keeping it on my shelf if I was never going to pick it up again? So I sold it, and I think I sold it for around £13. And I must say, I am going to put my eBay down in the description. If I have any, I have a few special editions on there at the minute, along with a few other books. But if I read something and I'm not going to keep it, it is all going on there. So if you save me as a seller, because by the end of this year, if I haven't read some of the special editions that I've had for 2 years, then it's unlikely that I am going to pick them up ever. So there's no point me keeping them. There's probably going to be a lot more special editions from me going on there. And I package perfectly. If you can get it open without scissors, I am a failure. I am one of those type of packers. Now, like I said, comparing this Illumicrate cover to the normal cover, usually Illumicrate's covers are vastly, vastly different. With this one, as you can see, the only difference is in colour. So Illumicrate's was sort of an aqua blue, greeny kind of colour, and the normal version is the exact same artwork, but it's just blue. Usually they're a lot different, but for this one, they just went with it. Now, moving on to February, and February's theme was Caged Hearts, because of course, Valentine's Day. And the offering for this month was To Cage a God by Elizabeth May. And this is the first book in a duology series, and its genre is labelled as a romantasy, rather than a normal fantasy book. But this cover, it is... Now, there's no foiling on it. It's sort of embossed instead. So the title is silver, but it is raised up, as you can see on there. And the cover is, it just blows my mind. It is really, really good. And the artwork does wrap around, and the spine is embossed as well, if you can hear that. It's like a washboard. And we wrap around to the artwork on the back. And again, this isn't embossed, this is silver foiling. And it says, to cage a god is divine. To be divine is to rule. To rule is to destroy. But the artwork does... Oh no, it doesn't. I thought it did, but it might do. So, let's have a look at the naked hardcover. This is the naked hardcover, and you can see that the foiling that they didn't use... Wow, Jesus. The foiling that they didn't use on the cover is all used on every inch of this hard case copy. And the book is a white sort of cloth colour. So it's not like shiny, but that is the naked hardcover. I mean, you can see that they've used absolutely every inch of this. And we come around to the spine, and there is nothing on the back. That is very, very shiny. Now, the sprayed edges are just a block purple colour, and again, the same on the bottom. These are the sprayed edges, so it kind of looks like sort of a stained glass kind of look for them. Very nice. And against the white, it really, really pops. Now, the end paper artwork is pure artwork. It is absolutely beautiful and really tells a story and sets the scene of the book. And it has a different scene on the back. Now, it is hand signed by the author as well. So, let's get into the blurb. Using ancient secrets, Galena and Sarah's mother grafted gods into their bones. Bound to brutal deities and granted forbidden power no commoner has held in a millennia, the sisters have been raised as living weapons. Now the time has come for them to overthrow an empire, no matter the cost. With their mother gone and their country on the brink of war, it falls to the sisters to take the helm of the rebellion and end the cruel reign of a royal family possessed by destructive gods. Because when the ruling Allure invade, they conquer with fire and blood, and when they clash, common folk burn. While Sarah reunites with her estranged lover, who now leads the rebellion, Galena infiltrates the palace. In this world of deception and danger, her only refuge is an isolated princess whose whip-smart tongue and sharp gaze threaten to uncover Galena's secret. Torn between desire and duty, Galena must make a choice. Work together to expose the lies of the Empire, or bring it all down. It certainly sounds interesting. Now, I haven't actually read this one yet. I keep meaning to. Most of the book box books are on my TBR for this year. I aim to get through a lot of them. If I don't get through them and they've been here years, I am just going to get rid of them at this point. It certainly sounds interesting, and I love this cover. But let's see what came in the box. So this is what came in the book box. Of these, the green wash bag I still have, but I think it's in a suitcase in the attic because I couldn't find it when I was looking for it. I have the drinking cup right here, and I am using it right now. It has rum and coke in it, so we're in for a good time. But we did get this, the keyring I haven't used yet because, well, it's still on the card. It sits down with my fairy tale books and my Grimm tales down at the bottom shelf down there. And that is where this lives. And we got a trident. Now usually these things are swords, but in this book, because it's, I'm assuming there's going to be some water in it, we got a trident instead. And that does live down here where all my swords are. Now let's compare book covers. So this is the Illumicrate cover, very, very eye-catching. And this is the other hardcover. Very, very different. And they are both amazing pieces of artwork because this is dark, fiery magic. And this is just vibrant, at least on the cover, because on the back it has that dark fire vibrant thing. But on the cover, wow. Now this has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.3, so while I'm not filled full of confidence, I am a little bit confident in that it's going to be a good one. And you can find this over on eBay. It is selling from anywhere from £5 to £18, which again doesn't fill me full of confidence. And if you want a brand spanking new one, you can get the book for £20 on the Illumicrate website, or the full box for £29. I think embossing does it better than foiling, because look at this thing. So moving on, March's theme was fantasy, spelt like this. And the book offered in March's, in this book box, was Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. And this is an adult fantasy, and it is the first in the Drowned World series. Now the second book has just been announced on Illumicrate for this. It is available only through the Illumicrate shop if you want to have a matching set. I, of course, haven't read it yet, and I refuse to buy a second book of a series that I don't know whether I even like the first one. I am not doing that this year. I am trying not to do that this year. But let's see what items came in the box. So this is a picture of what came in the book box in its entirety. And of these things, the only thing I don't have is the Sea Creatures soft book cover that goes over your hardcover while you're reading, because I didn't like the artwork style on it at all. I don't even think I sold it. I think I threw it out. I do have the post-it notes still. They're still in their pack because I haven't used them yet. I have other post-its to use first. Now, I don't usually use post-its. I'm holding them upside down. I don't usually use post-its at home, so I might take them into work where I actually will use them. We got this fantastic plant pot of sea creatures, and it is very... When I look at it in this light, it's very dark, but when I see it on camera, it is very sort of bright and underwatery. But as you can see, there is no plant in it. There's never been a plant in it. If it's not a cactus, I'm gonna kill it. So this lives with the other plant pot from last year's book boxes, and it just stays on the bottom shelf Just looking pretty. Now, speaking of a pot that looks pretty, this box also included a book pot of mythical creatures. As with the other book pots I've got, this one also holds bookmarks. So it sits on my shelf all the way up there and holds bookmarks, and that's where it lives. So all of those things, out of those 4 things, I get a use out of 3 of them, and 1, just because I don't like the artwork, it went straight in the bin. I should have sold. In hindsight, I should have sold it and not done the whole wastage thing. Now, coming back to the book, the artwork on this, it is very vibrant and there is minimal gold foiling on it. So the title is in gold foiling, and there are bits sort of in the windows of these houses that is part of the gold foiling here. You can see that as I move it around. And we have this on the spine, and we have a full art on the back. And again, it does have minimal gold foiling. We've got a few stars in the water and the windows of the houses on there as well. Now, the sprayed edges do wrap all the way around. So the bottom is, I'm assuming it's supposed to be water. And it wraps around all on here, all the way up to the top. Now, the thing that I love about these spread edges is it falls in line with what is going on the dust jacket, with the waves crescendoing down and going up again. I think I love it when they do that because it is very, very precise. But let's have a look at the naked hardcover. Now, this is the naked hardcover. It uses every little inch of this for artwork. And it wraps around too, just like that. So if I open it all out, we do have the full art on there. And for the end pages, we do have sort of a darker art than the cover and the naked one. It is artwork nevertheless. And it's the same art scene there on the back too. Let's get into the blurb. Welcome to Tiankawi, a shining pearl of human civilization and a safe haven for those fleeing civil unrest. Or at least that's how it first appears. But in the semi-flooded city, humans are, quite literally, on top, peering down from shining towers and aerial walkways on the Fathom folk, sirens, sea witches, kelpies and kappas, who live in the polluted waters below. For half-siren Mira, promotion to captain of the border guard means an opportunity to help her downtrodden people. But if earning the trust and respect of her human colleagues wasn't hard enough, everything Mira has worked towards is put in jeopardy when Nami, a know-it-all water dragon Fathom folk royalty, is exiled to the city. When extremists sabotage the annual boat race, violence erupts, as does the clampdown on Fathom folk rights. Both Nami and Mira must decide if the cost of change is worth paying, or if Tiankawi should be left to drown. It was inspired by East Asian mythology and ocean folktales. Now, this is signed by the author, and it does have an author letter here. Now, like I said, this is marketed as an adult fantasy. I'm not quite sure whether it is or not. It has an average rating of 3.1 on Goodreads, which doesn't fill me that much full of confidence. But then again, some books I've hated have gotten like a really high rating, and some books I've loved, their rating is very, very low. So you can't really trust a rating on Goodreads for your specific opinion. And this book is not available on the Illumicrate website anymore, simply because the second book is. So it has been replaced by the second book in the series. I think it's called Tide Folk or Tideborn, or maybe I'm getting that mixed up with something else. But you can find this copy, this Illumicrate beautiful spread edge, fantastic copy on eBay from anywhere from £7 to £30, which is quite reasonable for what it is. But with this, you are not going to get your money back if you bought it to sell. Now, comparing the covers of these, this is the Illumicrate one, and this is the normal one. There is not much difference in these, apart from this is blue and this is green. Again, they've done the same as Voyage of the Damned and kept the artwork but just changed the colour. Now, April's theme was magic versus science. And that month's book was To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly Chang. And this is it does have a really little bit of foiling around her weapon and her clothing, but most of it is using embossed artwork instead, as you can see from how shiny the character is. On there, you can hardly see the foiling too. And I mean, you really have to look, really sort of squint to see it. The artwork doesn't wrap around, however, but it does have artwork on the back, and it has praise for the author, which I'm not keen on because I don't need to know that the author is praised by other authors. That has absolutely no impact on whether I'm going to buy a book or not. Let me know down in the comments if you like reading praise for the author or not. And you can see more of the foiling and embossing on the back artwork too. Now, the sprayed edges do wrap all the way around. So we do have sort of a pink flowery colour, and it wraps around to this, which is very, very pretty, and wraps around for that on the bottom. Very, very pretty, deep pinks, very rich looking. So let's have a look at the naked hardcover. So this is the naked hardcover. Again, there is no foiling, but they have used every bit of this that they can. And this one does wrap around. Now, the end paper artwork is fantastic. So detailed, so talented, absolutely amazing. And it is a completely different scene on the back, but no less talented and no less rich looking. And this is hand signed by the author as well. Now let's get into the blurb. She has power over death. He has power over her. When two enemies strike a dangerous bargain, will they end a war or ignite one? Heroes die, cowards live. For as long as Yang Ruing has been alive, the empire of Erlang has been occupied by Romans, who mercilessly defeated the magic of her people. Now the invaders' advanced science, technology and military make them gods. But Ruing is special, having been blessed by death and born with the ability to pull life out of mortal bodies. When Antony, the second prince of Rome, uncovers Ruing's power, he offers her an impossible deal. If she becomes his private assassin and eliminates his political rivals, her family will be protected. Can Ruing trust this prince, whose promises of a better world make her heart ache, and whose smiles make her pulse beat faster? Are the evils of their agreement really in the service of a much greater good? Or will she betray her entire nation to guard those she loves the most? Now, this is a debut young adult fantasy novel, the first in the Gods Beyond the Sky series, and I don't think the second one has come out yet. Now, this has an average rating of 3.3 on Goodreads. I have not read it yet. You are going to hear me repeat that because quite a few of them I have not read yet. And you can find this on eBay from anywhere from £7 to £20, which is a good price for a special edition. And you can also find it, if you want a brand new one, on the Illumicrate website at £20 for the book and £29 for the box. Now let's see what's in the box. Now this is what came in the box, and I no longer have the science fiction jigsaw. I'm not a jigsaw person, I don't do jigsaws. There was no point even me keeping it. So that went on eBay, and I think I sold it for about £7. Now, the gardening gloves I do have, but I don't have to show you because they are absolutely filthy and they are up in the greenhouse. I do have these reusable wash pads though, and I haven't used them yet. In my last video doing 2023s, I said that I got this tin in one of the boxes. I've actually got it mixed up with another one that I can't remember and I can't find. But this tin actually came in this box, and I use it for pens on my desktop. Now let's compare this cover to the normal one. Is it any different? This is the normal one, and again it is absolutely no different artwork on the front of it apart from the colours used. Now, May's theme was magical bonds, and the book this month was Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. I probably butchered that, I'm ever so sorry. And this cover does have the gold foiling on it, but it is just the title. But I do like this cover. It's not as busy as some of the other ones, but I think it still packs a visual punch. And this is the spine, and unfortunately this is the back, and I absolutely detest it, because on the back it is praise for the author and praise for the book, and this is far too much space where you could have put more artwork. I hate it. It's a pet peeve. It's never going to change. That to me is a lot of wasted space. And the sprayed edges are a block colour, and lilies, which match the front cover, but it doesn't sort of wrap around and fit. It only wraps around and fits with the border up at the top and the bottom. Now this is the naked hardcover, bright blue with gold foiling, and it is very, very shiny and very, very bright. A normal spine title and nothing on the back. Now the interior artwork is gorgeous. I'm going to say gorgeous and beautiful a lot because that is exactly what these special editions are. That's the point of them being special editions. And it's the same artwork there on the back. Now this is a standalone adult fantasy novel, so let's get into the blurb. A mother and son, a goddess and a prince, a curse and an oath, a river whose course will change the fate of the world. Ganga, joyful goddess of the river, serves as caretaker to the mischievous godlings who roam her banks. But when their antics incur the wrath of a powerful sage, Ganga is cursed to become mortal, bound to her human form until she fulfills the obligations of the curse. Though she knows nothing of mortal life, Ganga weds King Shantanu and becomes a queen, determined to regain her freedom no matter the cost. But in a cruel turn of fate, just as she is freed of her binding, she is forced to leave her infant son behind. Her son, Prince Devarata, unwittingly carries the legacy of Ganga's curse, and when he makes an oath that he will never claim his father's throne, he sets in motion a chain of events that will end in a terrible and tragic war. As the years unfold, Ganga and Devarata are drawn together again and again, each confluence another step on a path that has been written in the stars, in this deeply moving and masterful tale of duty, destiny, and the unwavering bond between mother and son. So yeah, that does speak to me as a young adult fantasy, which is exactly what it's marketed as, and I think that is very, very true. Now this has an average rating of 3.8 on Goodreads, so it's definitely not a bad one. And you can find this particular edition selling on eBay from anywhere from £10 to £25, which is a bargain. And if you didn't want to have a look on eBay, if this interests you, you can find it on the Illumicrate website for £20 for the book and £29 for the full box. Now let's see what was in the box. And this is what was in the box. I do have absolutely everything, except the cup is still in the cupboard downstairs because I forgot all about bringing it up. But I do have the magnet here. Again, like I said, ever since I got the sticker book, everybody wants to send me magnets and I have absolutely nowhere to put them. There's 4 food closers, but 2 are in use at the minute. So these are them, and they're very, very good. Now, we got another one of these this year. If you remember, last year we got the blue one. This is a purple one, and I again have absolutely no use for it. And I don't know what to do with them. For these, you're supposed to stand them on your bookshelf and stand your books in them. But I like seeing my books, and this would cover half, practically all of it. I would just be able to see this and not my books, so that's not what I want. But other than that, I don't know what to use this for. It's been in my sort of odds and sods box since I got it. But now back to the book, and let's compare covers. So this is the Illumicrate version. This is the normal version, and as you can see, yet again, it is exactly the same except for a colour change. So where this one is green and pink, this one is blue and orange. Like I said, for quarter 2, they're just being bloody lazy. Now, June's theme was Will I Fly? And the book for this month was Of Jade and Dragons by Amber Chen. And I don't have the physical copy of this book. I have never had the physical copy of this book because I skipped this month. Simply because I have so many sort of dragon books. There was just so many at the time. I just didn't want to add yet another one to my ever-growing shelf. So this is a picture of the Illumicrate version, and you can see the similarities between this book and When the Moon Hatched, which came out around the same month from the Locked Library, which is another one I skipped. But it is a debut novel, and it is the first in the Fall of the Dragon series, and it is a YA fantasy with an average rating of 3.7 on Goodreads. And you can find this book on eBay from £20 to £35, and actually on the Illumicrate website for £20 for the book only, or £29 for the book and the box. So we're not going to spend much time on this one simply because I don't have it. So July's theme was Magical Menagerie, and the book this month was The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. If the other covers haven't used much gold foiling, it has been saved for this one. As you can tell, it is incredibly shiny, and it does wrap around for the spine and the back, where there is a little quote that says, "Falling in love never burned so bright." And bright is actually in green foiling, which you probably can't tell because of the way this light shines, but it is different coloured foiling here as well. So we've got gold, but we do have like green here. Nice touch. So I'll open it out, and that is it. Now this again is a standalone debut young adult fantasy novel, and the sprayed edges are a wraparound. So these are the sprayed edges, very sort of orange yellow fire, and it does wrap around from the bottom all the way up to the top. So let's have a look at the naked hardcover. So this is the naked hardcover. There is no foiling on here, it is just matte artwork, but my god, what an artwork. And it wraps around a bit just with the phoenix tail here, and this is what is on the back. Now the artwork is very good, very vibrant, but it's not my type of, it's sort of a cutesy art type of artwork. I would rather have this, you know, hard hitting scenes. This looks a bit too fun for me, and it's different artwork there on the back too. Let's get into the blurb. As head phoenix keeper at a world-renowned zoo for magical creatures, Ayla's childhood dream of conserving critically endangered firebirds seems closer than ever. There's just one glaring caveat. Her zoo's breeding program hasn't functioned for a decade. When a tragic phoenix heist sabotages the flagship initiative at a neighbouring zoo, Ayla must prove her derelict facilities are fit to take the reins. But saving an entire species from existence requires more than stellar animal handling skills. Carnivorous warthorses, tempestuous thunderhawks, mischievous dragons, Ayla has no problem wrangling beasts. Inspiring zoo patrons, that's another story. Mustering the courage to ask for help from the hotshot griffin keeper at the zoo's most popular exhibit? Virtually impossible. Especially when that hotshot griffin keeper happens to be her arch-rival from college, Luciana. An annoyingly brooding and insufferable know-it-all with the grace of a basilisk and the face of a goddess who's convinced that Ayla's beloved phoenix would serve their cause better as an active performer rather than as a passive conservation exhibit. With the world watching and the threat of poachers looming, Ayla's success is no longer merely a matter of keeping her job. She is the keeper of the phoenix, and the future of a species now rests on her shoulders. There's just one thing she has to remember. She's also not alone. And no, I haven't read it yet. Now, like I said, this is a romantasy novel, and the blurb certainly reads as just that. This is signed by the author with a nice piece of artwork down here, and it has a map of the zoo there too. Now, this has an average rating on Goodreads of 3.9, which means my expectations for this are higher than what they would usually be. And you can find this particular copy, this lovely shiny, selling on eBay from £12 to £40, which is a wider window and a more realistic one. But you can also find it on the Illumicrate website still at £20 for the book on its own and £29 for the full box. So let's have a look what's in the box. Now, these are the items that came in the box. I have every single one of them. The Phoenix mouse mat I can't show you because I actually took it to work and have it on my work desk with my laptop. It is vibrant, it's lovely, and it's soft. But this came as well. This is a lipstick holder, and I don't use it because you can see it is embossed here if the light reflects like that. It is based on the Jassad Air, which was one of last year's books. Because I don't use it because I would say I don't use lipstick, but I use lip gloss a lot more day to day. It's only when recording or going out that I put this on. And lip glosses, they're a bit too tall for it to shut properly, which is extremely annoying. So I might just put this on eBay and see if I can sell it. Now, one of the other things that came in this book box are these bookmark magnets. Magnets again, no badges, no stickers, just magnets. But these magnets, which I won't use because I prefer my bookmarks, my big long. I prefer the big long ones rather than the stick-on ones. But yeah, I'll probably put these up on eBay, or if I get enough of sort of like a collection of things that I don't use, such as these, and there's like other things that I've got in those book bags, for example. I will probably just put them in a bundle and put the bundle on eBay so that it helps. I only have to sell one box and only pack one box just full of bookish stuff. But one thing I do use is this green gold foiled notebook, and I have started using that this year. So it's a book tracker. So I have started writing in it here. And you can pick your book of the month, your reading goals for the year. This is an Illumicrate sort of bingo chart for what books you've read, and I've read 2 so far. And this is your monthly TBR, what you want to read, and what you actually, your tracker of what you actually are reading. Again, what you actually are reading, what you've bought that month, and your book reviews, and then your monthly wrap up on here, which is going to help very much when I do an actual monthly wrap up video. And then we'll get into the next month. So this is probably the most useful item I've had in the book boxes so far, because I'm going to use this every day this year, and it is beautiful to look at. Love it. But let's compare covers again. So as you can see, this is the cover. I'm going to hold it on an angle so you can actually see the comparison. This is the Illumicrate cover, and this is the normal cover. Again, they are being a bit lazy in the artwork because the only thing different is the use of white and blue. Again, hardly any difference between them at all. Now, August's theme was Look What You Made Me Do. And this month's offering was Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. And this is a debut fantasy novel, the first book in the Age of Blood series. And look at that cover. Gold on black just shines so well. It doesn't wrap around. And again, it has my worst pet peeve on the back, which is praise for the book and the author. I do not think it needs to take up all this space that could be better used for something else. But the edges are block colour, and just gorgeous detail. Absolutely beautiful. There isn't any colour apart from blacks, white, greys, but I think that makes it pop so much more. Now, let's see what came in this box. So this is a picture of what came in this book box. This is actually my picture. I took this one Look at me trying to be all visually and Instagrammy. Now, of these things, I don't have the packing bags to show you because they are in a suitcase up in the attic for when I go away, but they are so deep, you can fit so much in them, and they really cram into little spaces. And I don't have the pill box to show you because I gave that to my mother because I don't have any pills to take, and she does, so I gave it to where it would be used. Now what I do have, the 2 little pop balls on here, which are smaller than the ones we got last year by quite a bit, because I would say that those are cereal bowls and these are more little snack bowls. And we got a curved sword. Now getting back to the book, let's have a look at the naked hardcover. So this is the naked hardcover, and look at that. Hardly any foiling, but it is just the birds up here, and every inch of this cover is utilised. And it wraps around to the back too. Now the end pages are just dramatic. So much drama, so much deep colour, glorious. And it is a completely different scene on the back too. Now this is signed by the author, and it is the first Illumicrate book of last year to have a content warning. So let's have a look at the blurb and then we'll come back to that. So the blurb reads as: the daughter of a powerful but disgraced blood worker, Jeanne Leclerc has spent her entire life perfecting her blood magic, building her network of spies and gathering scraps of power. Now, to protect her brother, that she assassinates their father and takes her place at the head of the family, and that is only the start of her revenge. Samuel Hutchinson is a bastard with a terrible gift. When he stumbles upon the first victim of a magical serial killer, he's drawn into the world of sorcery and intrigue he's worked so hard to avoid, and is pulled deeply into the ravenous and bloodthirsty court of the Vampire King. Tasked to discover the identity of the killer cutting a bloody swathe through the city, Samuel, Jeanne and mysterious royal blood worker Isaac find themselves growing ever closer to each other. But Jeanne's plans are treacherous, and as she lures Samuel into her complicated web of desire, treason and vengeance, he must decide if the good of their nation is worth the cost of his soul. And I haven't read it yet. I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed with myself. But the content warning is this. Mistress of Lies contains sensitive material, including but not limited to explicit sexual content, murder, patricide, gore, blood magic and bloodletting for purposes of magic, discussion of racism and classism, and mentions of rape. There is one scene of explicit sexual content with a trans-masculine character in which the anatomical terms cock and cunt are used. There is no transphobia, misgendering or dead naming. Now, this book has an average rating of 3.3 on Goodreads. It really, reading some of the reviews for this does seem quite like a Marmite book. People either love it or they hate it. And it is selling on eBay. This beautiful version with its beautiful sprayed edges is on eBay from anywhere from £10 to £30. And it is available on the Illumicrate website for £20 for the book only, or £29 for the full box and goodies. Now let's compare the covers and see if they've actually done anything with them. So this is the Illumicrate cover. This is the normal cover, and again, the only thing that is different is the foiling and the colour, which is white on here and red on there. Now, September's theme was Darker Academia, and this month's book was a book that every single book box got a hold of around this time, and that is A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft. And this is the Illumicrate version. It uses every bit of it, gold foiling on the border and on bits on the characters. And the title is Small. And we do have artwork on the spine, and we do have similar artwork on the back. For the edges, they do wrap around, so it really does feel like you are underwater. It is quite dark, lots of blue, dark blues, greys, blacks. very dark. So let's have a look at the naked hardcover. So this is the naked hardcover for this one. And I'm going to do this now because this actually matches one of the other covers, which is up here. And it does have another cover down here. So all three editions are completely different. This just utilises the artwork of this cover. And there isn't anything on the back. Now the end pages are not my favourite thing. It's more like an encyclopedia. I prefer my artwork to be a scene of the book rather than information like this. And it's different again on the back. Now this is marketed as a standalone adult romantasy. When anything says romantasy, it's usually going to be young adult. So the whole adult thing, no. Let's have a look at the blurb. Lorelei Caskell, a folklorist with a quick temper and an even quicker wit, is on an expedition with 6 eccentric nobles in search of a mythical spring of untold power. The king wants to harness the fabled water source from which magic flows to secure his reign, and Lorelei is determined to prove herself and to make her dream come true, to become a naturalist, able to travel freely to faraway lands. The expedition gets off to a harrowing start when its leader, Lorelei's beloved mentor, is murdered in her quarters aboard their ship. The suspects are her 5 remaining expedition mates. The only person Lorelei knows must be innocent is her longtime academic rival, the insufferably gallant and maddeningly beautiful Sylvia von Wolf. Now in charge of the expedition, Lorelei must find the spring before the murderer strikes again, and a coup begins in earnest. But other dangers lurk in the dark. Forests that rearrange themselves at night, rivers with slumbering dragons hiding beneath the water, and shape-shifting beasts out for blood. As Lorelei and Sylvia grudgingly work together to uncover the truth and resist their growing feelings for each other, they discover that their leader had secrets of her own. Secrets that make Lorelei question whether justice is worth pursuing and if this kingdom is worth saving at all. Now, let's see what came in the box. So this is what came in the box, and again, this is my own picture, or my, I was in my zone. Now, of these things, it is again another jigsaw, which I promptly sold on eBay for £12. I don't do jigsaws, I am not a jigsaw type of person. Now, this glasses case came in it, and I do use this. Now, I don't wear glasses, but my phone fits absolutely perfect in here for chucking in my bag when I go to work. So I use it as a phone case instead. Now we also have these reading prompt cards, which I completely forgot about until making this video. But these are cards which I realised when I took them out I could actually use to put together a book tag video, because it has book suggestions on all of these. So for this first one, like a book set in space, the oldest book on your shelf, a book with time travel, a book that has enemies to lovers, a book with a murder mystery. You see what I mean? So that is going to be very, very useful this year. Now, one of the most useful things this year so far, now I said that green book was the most useful, and it is very organised and very pretty, but there is also this. Now it is black, embossed like that, but this is a weekly, I use it as a diary. So I've put the calendar dates here, you have your weekly tasks, whether you achieve them, what videos I'm going to put out, it is all tracked in here because my mind is a sieve and I have so many ideas, if I don't write them down, I will forget them. Now, back to the book. So this book currently has an average rating of 3.6 on Goodreads, but the amount of ratings is astronomical because this book was everywhere in September. And this version, this Illumicrate lovely, pretty shiny version, is selling on eBay from anywhere from £8 to £40, which is one hell of a window. And again, it is available on the Illumicrate website for £20 for the book, brand new, and £29 for the book and the stuff. So if you want to grab yourself a bargain, or if you want to treat yourself, if you think that you're going to use some of these stuff, treat yourself away. I fully endorse you. And now we are into October, the spooky month. And the theme for this month was Colours of Magic. And the book this month was Until We Shatter by Kate Dillon. And that is a very busy, colourful cover. Now, there is bits of gold foiling, but there isn't that much. And it just does look like glass shards. Now, the colours run onto the spine and on the back. A desperate thief, an impossible heist, survive or shatter. And it has praise for the book either side, which is very annoying to me. But these are the sprayed edges, so it does go exactly with the cover. Vibrant, shattering, and it fits completely when you look at it like that. And this is the naked hardcover. I mean, look at, just wow. Absolutely gorgeous. So beautiful. And we have a bit of artwork on the spine. And again, we have gorgeous, beautiful artwork on the back. Now the end pages is not my kind of thing. It is character art, but it looks a bit Disney-fied for me. Don't know whether that's just me thinking that or not. And it has a different scene there on the back too. So let's check out what came in the box. So this is what came in the box. And the only thing I no longer have is the washi tape, or washi tape, whatever, however the hell it's pronounced, because I use it for wrapping up my eBay sales, and I used all of them. But we'll start with something that I really, really don't like, and I will never have a use for, is these. These are travel bottles, based on the Honey Witch. Nice bottles, you'll probably be able to fit absolutely loads in them. They're just not my kind of vibe at all. They are cute and woodsy, and it's just not me. So again, these will probably be in the bundle that I am going to put on eBay because I have no use for them. I will never use them, and it might as well go to somebody who will. Now finally, we have a badge. And this is based on the Crimson Moth. I haven't actually taken it off the card because I like the card to put it on my blue thing, but I probably will do after this video. And we have a hardcover case based on the Priory of the Orange Tree. And unlike the last one that came, the Sea Monster one that I hated with a passion because I hate the artwork, I love the artwork on this. And I will use it. And it's soft, it's squidgy, and I am going to use this. So back we go to the book, and this is a young adult fantasy, and it is the first in a series. And I forget the series name. So let's get into the blurb. No matter where she goes, Kemi's life has been under threat. The church would see her killed for having any magic. The Council of Shades wants her dead for not having enough. So when her mother falls ill, Kemi has no choice but to turn thief. And when she's offered a job that could solve all their problems, it's impossible to resist. The catch? Kemi will have to work with Chase, beautiful, dangerous, and full of secrets, to steal a powerful relic in the churches hidden within a deadly realm of shadows. If she succeeds, Kemi will finally be safe. But if she's caught, she risks igniting a spark that could destroy the city and everyone inside. Now this has an average rating of 3.4 on Goodreads. I have actually read this and I do have a review video up for it, and I rated this one a 4 because it's not really a book that you would call for Halloween. It has absolutely no horror element at all, and I knew going in that it was going to be young adult, so that factor didn't bother me at all. And it is sort of a mystery heist book. So let's have a look at the cover. So this is the Illumicrate version, and this is the normal version. Again, exactly the same apart from the colours. This is green, that is pink. There is absolutely no difference, and it is just incredibly lazy. But this version is currently selling on eBay from anywhere from £10 to £25, and you can buy this on the Illumicrate shop for £20 for the book only, or £29 for the full box. So you can still get all these journals and everything that I'm using and that I've showcased. You can get them by buying the full book boxes. But it's your job to see whether it's worth it or not. And we are in January. You can still fill one in. Now we are into November. And November's theme was Time is Running Out. And this might be my favourite book of the entire year, because this book was The Last Hour Between Worlds by Melissa Caruso. And look at that cover. The foiling is used so well on the clocks and the stars. It is just gorgeous. And the only thing I don't like about it, of course, is this new thing that Illumicrate are doing that is incredibly annoying, but praise for the author or the book on the back instead of more art. And the sprayed edges are wraparound ones. Oh so good. Oh so wibbly wobbly timey wimey. So let's have a look at the naked hardcover. And this is the naked hardcover. I mean, look at the art and colour and shininess of this thing. And it does wrap around all the way onto the back. Just like that. Now the internal artwork again is beautiful. Completely my kind of visual style. I love everything about it. And the back is just badass. Now, let's have a look what came in the box. So what came in this box is this cup. I know I said that this cup came in an earlier one, but I actually got it mixed up with this one, which came in the earlier box, and this one came in this box. And what also came in this box was a pair of nice socks, which I don't have because they're currently in my washing basket upstairs. Also, we have this reading coin. I actually got 2 of these, so one will be in the bundle of stuff. Tell you what, when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm just going to put a big bundle box together and a special edition. I'm going to buy somebody a special edition book of their choice within a certain limit on a certain website, of course, because there's no way I'm fucking parting with hundreds and hundreds of pounds for a special edition book. And I'm going to put all these items of they get to choose what items they want, what they don't, and I'll think about that when I get there. I think I've got just over 600 subscribers now, so that is a way off. It's either one more chapter or go to sleep. Now, the last thing that came in this box is extremely annoying, because it's a book pot. And you say, well, why is a book pot annoying? You loved the other ones. Yes, I did, and I would love this one too. Except, this was not supposed to be in this book box. This was supposed to be in the science fiction December box. And what was supposed to be in this one, which is, I'll put a picture of it up here, is a velvet blue bag that goes with The Last Hour Between Worlds book. And I am so annoyed because, as you'll find in a minute, I skipped December's box because it was science fiction. And I skipped it before they told us that they'd got the stuff mixed up. I could buy this on eBay, but it's going for 20 quid, and I'm not that hard. I don't love it that much, but I would have liked to have that rather than this. Although this is very, very nice, I would rather have this because it goes with the book. Now getting back to the book. This is an adult fantasy, the first in the Echo Archive series. And this has an average rating on Goodreads for 3.9. Now, personally, I rated this, if you couldn't guess already, it's 5. It was 5 stars for me. Absolutely perfect. I do have a full review video of this on my channel if you want to check it out after this one. But this is beautiful. Now, let's compare the covers. Now, this is the Illumicrate cover. Have they been lazy again? Because this is the normal cover, and as you can see, it is, although the clocks are in the same place, the colour, the artwork, completely different. Thank God, finally. Now, this book, you can get this version of this book on eBay from anywhere from £10 to £30, and you can still find it on the Illumicrate website for £20 for the book or £29 for the full box. Now, I don't know whether the full box has not mixed the gifts up or whether they're just going with it right now. They're probably just going with it. But this, I couldn't devour it fast enough. And the next book in this series is coming this November. And I have written it in my little black book. And this is the blurb for it. A star investigator and her rival journey through layers of reality to save the world as they know it in this whip-smart adventure fantasy packed full of reality-bending magic, sapphic romance and tantalising mystery. Kimberl Thorne is spending a precious few hours away from her newborn and she's determined to enjoy herself at the year-turning ball. But when the guests start dropping dead, Kem has no choice but to get to work. She's a member of the Guild of Hounds after all, and she can't help picking up the scent of trouble. Especially when her professional and personal nemesis, notorious cat burglar Riker Nonsuch, is also on the prowl. At the heart of the mayhem is a mysterious clock that sends the ballroom down into strange and otherworldly new layers of reality every time it chimes. As the party plunges through increasingly dangerous versions of their city, Kem will have to rely on her wits and Riker to unravel the mystery before catastrophe is unleashed on their world. It's so very good. I can't say enough how good this book is. Now, as I've already said, I did skip December's book because it was science fiction and I don't like science fiction. But the book for December was Hammerjang Luck, which is up here with its wonderfully it was very holographic. The pictures, the unboxing videos I've seen of this, extremely holographic. Wow. And this was a debut standalone novel. And it has an average rating of 3.8 on Goodreads, and you can find this version up on eBay from £12 to £25. And it is available on the Illumicrate website for £20 for the book and £29 for the box, for the book and the box. But the cover, as I said, it is holographic. And it is exactly the same as the normal cover, except that is not holographic, it is just green and yellow. Now that concludes our monthly books, but did I hear you asking, in 2024, did you buy any pre-orders from Illumicrate? I did not learn my lesson from 2023, so yes I did. If you've seen my 2023 video, you will know that I purchased Godkiller by Hannah Kaner, and when Illumicrate brought out the second book, Sunbringer, I had to have it because it goes together, it fits as a series, it perfectly fits. And it has killer artwork which wraps around for the back, which I am not going to read because it might contain spoilers for the first one if you haven't read it already. And I'm not going to read the blurb for it either, for the same reason. And these are the sprayed edges. I mean, completely amazing artwork for that. And this is the naked hardcover. Not as detailed as the first one, but it does look epic all the same. And inside we do have wallpaper like the first one, but it has got bits of gold foiling on it which really do shine in the light. Which is the only time this light doesn't want to make it shiny. And it's the same on the back. And inside, which is exactly where it should be, is praise for the previous book and the author. Exactly on the inside where I don't have to see it. And and the third one in the series, Faithbreaker, is available right now on the Illumicrate website because Godkiller isn't anymore, and neither is this one. The third one has just come out on their website. If you want the third Illumicrate version, I would get to look on there right now, before it sells out. Because you can buy this on eBay, this particular version, but it is going to set you back from anywhere from £95, which is the bottom rate, all the way up to £200. Just like the first one. These go for a hell of a lot. This is a juggernaut of a series that I haven't started yet, and I only have myself to blame. But they are on my TBR for February because the third one comes out in March, and I want to read it when it comes out. So I've got to read these two first. And they're not that big. The first one's a bit thinner than this one. Now with the other pre-order, I'm going to put them all together in a pile because I bought a full series without reading the first book first, which is The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I bought the first one on eBay. I bought the second one on eBay. Because the third one is the only one that is available in the Illumicrate shop for 21 quid. Those two were not. Theirs were about 30 to 40. This was 21. And they all have the same type of sprayed edges. And I'm only going to read the blurb of the first book. But it says, welcome to the Alexandrian Society. When the world's best magicians are offered an extraordinary opportunity, saying yes is easy. Each could join the secretive Alexandrian Society, whose custodians guard lost knowledge from ancient civilizations. Their members enjoy a lifetime of power and prestige, yet each decade only 6 practitioners are invited to fill 5 places. Contenders Libby Rhodes and Nico de Verona are inseparable enemies, cosmologists who can control matter with their minds. Parisia Kamali is a telepath who sees the mind's deepest secrets. Raina Mori is a naturalist who can perceive and understand the flow of life itself. And Callum Nova is an empath who can manipulate the desires of others. Finally, there's Tristan Kane, whose powers mystify even himself. Following recruitment by the mysterious Atlas Blakely, they travel to the Society's London headquarters. Here, each must study and innovate within esoteric subject areas, and if they can prove themselves over the course of a year, they'll survive. Most of them. And this is the naked hardcover with holographic artwork. It is the same on the other 2 as well. And the internal artwork is dark, brooding character art. And I haven't even started reading this series yet, so I don't even know whether I'm going to like it, having bought all 3 of them. I do plan to start the series that I have bought already. I have so many reading goals for this year, I don't even know how I'm going to read any new books. But that's kind of the point. So let's get into my rating system. Now, the box with the worst items for me was To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods. Just because it has a jigsaw that I don't use, and I use all the other stuff a lot more. I haven't used the reusable face pads. I've only just started using the pencil tin yesterday. Yeah, I use the gardening gloves all the time. So when I rated these, this was my least favourite. Now for me, although I have said that that the book pot was in the wrong box, the best box for me, items-wise, was The Last Hour Between Worlds. I love the socks. I'll use them. The book pot, although it's not supposed to be in this box and it's supposed to be in the next one, I do like it and I will use it. The reading coin is very, very pretty. Although I won't use it, I will keep it just to zhuzh up my shelves. And I'll use the rest of it at some point. Now, I would usually do my worst by rating, but because the 2 books I read were more or less on a par with each other, and I think the worst one I read was Voyage of the Damned at 3, which 3 isn't that bad, but it is the worst out of the ones I've read this year. But the best by rating is The Last Hour Between Worlds at 5 stars. You really can't beat 5 stars, and I would encourage anybody who likes time travel, fantasy, you've got to read this book. Now, for me, the worst looking dust jacket is a book that I skipped, and that is Hammerjang Look. I don't like, it's so holographic, and just, other than the holographs, really, what's it doing? For me, it's doing absolutely nothing, and I'm glad I skipped it. Now, one with the best dust jacket is the other book I skipped, which is of Jade and Dragons, because although I don't want to read anything about dragons, or I didn't at the time, this dust jacket is beautiful. Now, the book with the worst sprayed edges, and that for me was Voyage of the Damned with these. It compared to the rest of them, it's just a bit boring. Now, the one that I feel has the best spread edges, which was extremely hard to pick a top one, considering all the edges that we've been given this year. But for me, the book with the best spread edges was Mistress of Lies for these. Because these are just... It's black, it's grey, it's white, it's detailed, it's gorgeous. So the book with the worst hardcover artwork. And that is again, Hammerjang Look. And I will find a picture to put up here because I just don't like anything about it and I am so glad I skipped it. But the one with the best hardcover artwork is Mistress of Lies with this. How could I not rank this the top? Because it's just, it wraps around, it's detailed, it's red, it's bloody, it's crimson, it's gothic and gorgeous. Like me. And now the book with the worst internal artwork. And that is A Dark and Drowning Tide. Simply because I don't like my end pages being this sort of encyclopedia stuff. It's not my kind of thing at all. Like I said, I prefer scenes from the book to things like that. And the book with the best internal artwork is To Cage a God, because this is so detailed, so fairy tale-esque, and it has magic dripping from it. So gorgeous. But that was my Illumicrate wrap up for 2024. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Which one was your favourite? Which have you read? What did you like the best out of each of them? And which are you going on the website to buy? I see you there.